3, 2, 1. Why, hello and welcome to the last episode of the Level With Us Livecast. It's me, your host, Marco DeSantos, also known as the Mechanic Critic, and with me is the ever wonderful, ever amazing project manager, Level 99 Games himself. Is it this way or that way? This way?
It's Josh, actually. Also known as A3.
It's Josh, also known as A3. Yo, what's up, everyone? I'm sure all of you must be wondering what the heck is going on. Don't worry, we're gonna be getting into the show and explaining all of that really soon. But before we get there, let's talk a little bit about you, Josh. What's up? It's been a while. We haven't done the live cast in a while.
Yeah, I mean, other than work stuff that a lot of, so I can't talk about yet. I think we're both playing Neo World Ends with You, right?
Yeah, Neo Twawi. Woo woo. Oh man, so good.
So it's been taking a lot of my time outside of work.
Yeah, it has been taking a lot of my time personally as well. I'm really hyped about Neo Twawi, my guy.
Pretty good.
Have you gotten to week 2, day 2 finished yet?
Not finished, no. I'm in the middle of it.
Oof.
Right now.
It's probably my favorite day so far.
Cool. Looking forward to finishing that then.
Yeah. How is everybody in chat? Yo. Does everybody see us all good and well? Cause you better. Cause we do be trying our best to make sure that chat and everything's going all right. It seems that I'm not seeing anybody type in chat. This probably is YouTube being a big butt. So let me just open it up on my phone here and make sure that I'm seeing chat all well and good.
Yeah, let us know if you can hear us and everything.
Yep. So, guess what I've been doing, Josh? Outside of playing Neo Twawi.
What have you been doing outside of that?
I've been doing a lot of thinking. I've been trying to find new roguelikes to play. And I've been trying to... I found this one called Dice Legends, Dice Legacy or something.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting. I haven't played it yet because it's coming out next month, I think.
Is it like Dicey Dungeons?
No, it's like Dicey Dungeons had a baby with like Sim City.
Okay.
Or Frostpunk, right? So it's like a dice manipulating dice builder game where you slot dice into like buildings and stuff, and that's like what determines how much workers the building makes or whatever the heck. So it's really interesting.
Do you like change their faces or thing, or do you just like roll dice and assign to things?
I'm not sure. I think you get more dice and then you can customize dice by like fusing them or something like that, right?
Oh, okay.
So it's a dice collector and a dice builder, right? So it's like Dice Forge and stuff. So I don't know. It looks really interesting. The setting looks really interesting. It's on like a ring Earth. Okay, so let's check. Oh, chat's up. All right. We're looking good. We're looking good. Chat's saying Neo Twawi Chads. Neo Twawi Chads indeed. If your name is Gyakuten King, I assume you like Ace Attorney. I'm also planning on playing Ace Attorney Legends, so we'll see.
I'm getting ready for No More Heroes 3, so I actually like to finish Neo Twawi like pretty quick.
How are you gonna finish Neo? I've been playing way more
like
often
2
than
weeks. Yeah, I got like this week and next week.
I mean, week 2's pretty long. Week 2 is way longer than week 1, for sure.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to buckle down this weekend and play a lot.
Yeah, for sure. If you're looking for roguelike recommendations, Jupiter Hell is mine. Think Doom, but as a roguelike. So, there's a lot of cool roguelikes that I want to play. Like Jupiter Hell is actually one of them. Problem, I have severe motion sickness, so I can't play first-person games. Chick chow. This means I've never played BioShock, never played Fallout, never played Skyrim, any of these games, ever. That's just the reality that I live.
Could you take like motion sickness medicine thing and play it, or is that not too much for you?
I mean, number one, that's a lot of money and resources to pay just to play games that I have to pay to play. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, Skyrim is like the best game last century, right? It's on literally every platform.
yeah, sure.
How
I can
can
play
you-
it on a TI-80 calculator. Doesn't mean it's like the best thing ever.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can play Doom on a microwave. It doesn't mean that like old Doom is the best game ever.
Right.
It's top down? Oh, if it's top down. Okay. If it's not a first-person shooter. Hey, Chris. Hey, it's Chris. Chris says, my friends with FES motion sickness issues can play with third-person cameras. Is it the same for you? No. It's about the camera type. So I can't play Final Fantasy Dirge of Cerberus. And it's a third-person action game. That's how bad it is.
That's rough, buddy.
It's not an FPS. If it's not an FPS, I might play it. I might be thinking of a different game. Is it like Gunfire Reborn then? Because Gunfire Reborn's the game that's like Borderlands as a roguelike, right? I might have been thinking about that, not Jupiter Hell. You know, with so many roguelikes in existence, it all just blends in my mind, so. What the heck did I miss? Okay, so chat, let's get a little bit into that. Josh, ask me why this is our final live cast.
Marco, why is this our final live cast?
So, we at Level 99 Games do take a big effort to try and reevaluate things every year and see whether or not they're aligning with our goals. And as part of the marketing team, we've been doing all of these live casts for quite a while now. I believe this episode is our 201st, I think.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
That was a while.
we kinda do like evaluations every 100 episodes or something like that. And we've evaluated all of these live casts, and we're seeing, like, let's be real, we're seeing diminishing returns on the number of views that we get and the number of traction that we get from these episodes. And not to say that we don't think the quality of the episodes are bad. We don't think that the quality of episodes are great either. You know, they're good, but they're not like, you know, I would literally watch this over watching daytime TV. You know what I mean? This isn't Ellen.
Definitely, there's certain kinds of streams are more popular. There's, you know, game reveals, you know, first looks at gameplay. Those usually do pretty well, and you know, we'll continue those certainly.
Right.
Just, you know, we'll be moving from the bi-weekly for and only post YouTube when it's a little more relevant, I think.
Right. So part of the reevaluation is reevaluating the purpose and goals of each of our marketing channels, right? So that includes our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course the YouTube. And one thing we realized is that what a lot of people want out of a YouTube tends to be, you know, when something pops up on my feed, I want it to be something that, like, you know, matters. Like a game release or gameplay previews. Yeah, it's a big deal, right? Like, you know, when Nintendo posts something on their official YouTube, it's a game trailer, it's an announcement for something, you know, and sometimes they go weeks without posting anything on their channel, right? And I think, you know, Level 99 Games as a channel is more like Nintendo than it is like, you know, a lifestyle blog, or than it is like, you know, a gameplay YouTuber who posts gameplay every week, right? What we're trying to do here is essentially give you a one-stop shop for all of your Level 99 Games announcement needs. So that's not to say that we're not going to be posting content anymore. In fact, it's not even going to say that we're not going to be posting content often anymore. Because, you know, we have a lot of stuff lined up. Cough, Bullet, Star is happening soon. So there's going to be a lot of stuff about Bullet Star coming out on this channel. So it's going to be very interesting.
And, you know,
yeah,
it doesn't mean we'll stop engaging community either. We have some other ways we'd like to try doing that. If that segues into the Discord thing.
Yeah. So
Plainly.
if you're gonna miss me or Josh, we're actually gonna be transferring this kind of show where we, you know, hang out, play some games, talk to fans, to our Discord, where interaction is much easier. You can just watch a stream, you can chat and hang out with us rather than being on chat. You can be on voice call, you can be on our stage, or whatever you want, right? We might even do some community game nights where we play some of our older games, like Power Play. I've always wanted to do a Power Play community weekly game. So something like that would be really, really fun. For people who don't know, Power Play is a competitive tabletop RPG. So, you know, it's pretty great. So yeah, there you go. There's that thing. If you wanna interact with me more, I've also taken over the Level 99 Games Twitter. So, you know, Twitter will no longer just be an announcement platform. I'll be just posting stuff about my life. I already posted about Neo Twewi way too many times on our Twitter. I've posted about, I don't know, like gameplay stuff and just whatever, right? Like, you know, so if you miss me, if you're gonna miss me, you can have your daily dose of Marco over on our Twitter. But yeah, there you go. That's why this is the final, quote-unquote, live cast. We won't be doing a bi-weekly live cast anymore. We will be transitioning towards more important announcement-related content. I've seen those posts. Yeah, Chris, I've seen you react to my posts. So that's all cool. You know, I think 3 days ago, I asked everybody for their wrestling-related board game recommendations. To my surprise, there are way more wrestling board games than I thought there would be. There's this one game called Book It, which people have been telling me to try out. So we'll see if I can get my hands on a copy on TTS or in real life. Okay, so that's all of that out of the way. Josh, I do have a question to ask you. How do you feel about this? Like, you know, you've been doing this show with me for, I say, like 30-something episodes, right? So
probably that sounds about right.
Yeah. So how do you feel? How do you feel about the end of the live cast as we know it?
I mean, personally, as long as I have outlets to engage with the community, still that's all I really care about. You know, this gives me an opportunity personally to like do other. Because I've been thinking about, you know, being involved in these like AMA type things on the Discord. It's a lot more casual chatting. I've thought about starting some like article series on the website, you know, about like giving people looks into production, like voicing my opinions on things. And whatnot. You know, work approved types of articles that would be interesting, I think, for people to. We haven't really done much with the website as like posting articles here concerned in a while, so I'd like to kind of get back into that. I think people might be interested in that kind of thing. So, you know, we're you know, there's just, it's the same, we're still doing the same stuff, just shifting it to kind of other outlets. You know, people on the Discord might have already seen that Brad did these types of like AMA type voice chat things a couple weeks ago. Oh, so you kind of saw the tests for that. So if you're interested in that, right, you'll probably be seeing more of those in the future.
Yeah.
But, you know, as far as live streams, you know, it's, you know, same, you know, just different mediums, right? We'll still be engaging. It'll just, you know, it might just not see our faces or our rooms as much anymore.
Right. Oh my gosh. I look at this. Ooh, microwave.
I can't see your screen. So
dang.
I'll imagine a microwave.
Oh, you imagine a microwave?
I'll imagine the microwave that you cook literally every meal.
Oh my god! Okay,
nothing else.
People have to know about this. Josh has a vehement hatred towards microwaves, and he's it's insane. Like, I can't believe
there are very few places where microwaves are okay. In my opinion, I feel that using an oven produces a much better result, despite the time sink that it causes.
Yeah, see, I don't have that time, man. I'm Asian.
I mean, it's also a cultural thing too. You just use microwaves a lot more. You know, you have dishes that make sense for microwaves.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of breads and stuff, which I assume are not great for microwaves. But you know,
not really.
Yeah,
on the bread.
Yeah, we're a lot of like, you know, rice and,
dishes.
Yeah, so it's like microwaves are fine for that.
That's fine. Sure.
I mean, look, I could make fun of you in your ovens all I want, but we have dedicated rice cookers like, you know, an entire appliance whose only goal is to make rice. So
Right. I mean, I own a rice cooker too. I just don't use it as much as you'd probably.
You can't cook soup in an oven. See, friend, I think you just aren't.
You're
trying.
right. You can cook soup on a stove in a pot, like a sane person.
Okay,
You know,
okay. You have to
If
understand.
you really want to save that 15 that's in the mic, go ahead. But you can also save your tongue and regulate the temperature on an oven a lot better than blasting it in the microwave.
I mean,
Will do ya.
Okay, you have to understand. I've had to do some crazy stuff because there was a point in time where we didn't have an oven and we didn't have a stove and we only had a rice cooker. So me and my dad learned how to cook using a rice
With a
cooker.
rice cooker.
Yeah.
Just eat your food cold, man.
No. They were raw. So it's not like we were reheating cooked food. We were cooking food
Oh, okay.
using a rice cooker. It's insane.
Desperate times, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Chat's asking, is the series going to be renamed upon moving to Discord? I'm not even sure if that thing is gonna have like a name. We're just gonna go like, hey, hang out with Marco and Josh, or hang out with Marco, or hang out with Brad, AMA, whatever, right? We'll see. We'll see about the branding of that. Given that it's no longer gonna be on YouTube or on Facebook or stuff like that, it no longer needs branding, so to speak, right? Like, it's just, hey, hang out with us.
It depends on if we're like time slotting. If we're doing it consistently, maybe it'd be good to have a name to put to it. But I don't know. Yeah, we haven't really worked out a schedule for this yet, but soon.
I don't know. It's fine, right? Like, we don't. But yeah, it's like we won't be needing thumbnails and all of these things, right? So there's not a big impetus to make branding for it. Chad is saying soup. You can't cook soup in an oven. Rice cookers, baby! See, somebody gets it. I have only a microwave because you could make fried rice with only a microwave. Not very well. Versatile enough for a college student. See, Josh, you've grown out of touch, man. Microwaves
I used to like, be on food stamps and what, then be in college. I've been there to an extent.
Okay, that's fair.
But I still had a stove.
Chat's asking, Campbell's soup? Sorry, I've been living on Campbell's thanks to new braces. Ooh, braces suck. I used to wear braces. Does Discord record them so we can watch them later? Nope. The nature of those events are gonna be, more hangouts and stuff, right? It's not... Yeah, again, the reason why these ones were recorded was because we were trying to make them into, like, content that people could watch later on, right?
I think the nature of the AMAs on the disc will be more the kind that won't need to be recorded. We're not going to be so much talking about important things you need to know. If we do that, there'll be a YouTube. We're more just going to be talking about, opinions on things, maybe like, stuff about work that isn't really, just like fun,
right?
It's telling you about how things go, scenes or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing.
Right?
We're
not going to be dropping a new game in these voice chats.
Exactly.
Or anything.
I mean, it's the kind of thing that only like diehard dedicated fans would like really want to hear, right? Like 90% of our customer base doesn't really care about how deep and intricate designing an Exceed character would take, right? Like, most people are like, I buy Exceed, I play Exceed, it's fun, right? Not a lot of people are like, what's the deep nature of the licensing behind the Exceed franchise, right? Only a few people really care about that kind of stuff. And the Discord AMAs are the place for those people, And if they want to hear it, they just join the show. We try to do shows at different times so that people can come, but that's really it. Yeah, like, if we have a production update or something like that, we would do that in an announcement, not necessarily in a video. It would probably be on the blog.
Yeah, we do a Kickstarter update or a blog. Anything important that people need to know about, we'll let you know in a recorded format. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, but if it's like, how has the pandemic port situation affected you? Like, that's how do you plan on solving cardboard shortage or something like that? that's not something that needs to be recorded, right? Something that if you want to hear, you can go to a AMA and ask Brad about it. I mean, he's literally answered that question. So, things like that. I mean, honestly, it's a really big change for me, what's happening right now, because I've been doing this longer than you, Josh, like, just as a fact, right?
Right.
I was part of every single one of those 200 episodes.
Yeah, this must hit a little harder for you.
It's actually not really that hard, It's like, I guess it's kind of like having a child, if they're young, it's kind of hard to let go, right? Like, if your toddler is like, I want to go outside and be independent, you're like, well, you're a little baby, you can't go out there, right? But to me, the livecast is like an adult, right? Like, he's kind of like a 35-year-old man who's been living in my house way too long. And I'm like, you need to get out of here. So not to say that I think, it's a bum or a whatever, but like the point is that I've seen the livecast grow. I've seen it change and iterate over time. And this is just another iteration, another step in its evolution, right? And it's all part of the overall Level 99 Games marketing strategy anyway, right? Again, like Josh said, it's not that interaction is going away, it's that we're trying to put it in the places where people want it, right? Or rather, where the people who want it can more easily access it for themselves.
Right. Like, yeah, I certainly want to, like, do more Q&As and talk to the community and stuff, and it's a lot easier for us to just, jump on this chat and go, hey, doing a thing in an hour or whatever. Having to set up a live stream and,
right.
schedule all that.
One thing people have to understand is that, streaming requires some amount of setup and some amount of, like, overhead that only I basically have the time to do. Josh is swarmed with work, right? And if he has to learn how to do OBS, do marketing by doing thumbnails, blah, 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 and all of this stuff, he just doesn't have the time, right? I mean, same thing with
but
Brad.
I could jump into a chat while working and chat while I'm doing work stuff. That's no problem.
Right, exactly. And that's really the nature of it all. It's about optimizing the amount of effort we put into these things so that we can make them more or have them be of higher quality, right? And overall, we hope that this transformation will mean that we get to do more things as a result. Like I was saying, I've always been wanting to do community game nights that aren't just playing Exceed or BattleCon, right? Because, that's what all
trying out some of the rest of our catalog. And
right. Maybe a Pixel Tactics Day, or maybe doing Power Play. Especially
right.
Power Play is the kind of game that you can't just, that requires voice call and interaction between people, right? So it's a game that I've been wanting to play a lot. It's a game that I think is criminally underrated. But yeah, there you go. As for future things you can expect on this YouTube channel, that will be game announcements, right? Especially when we launch a new project. For example, Cough Cough, Bullet Star. We're also going to be uploading some of the OST for Bullet Star. Again, when that happens.
Yeah, mechanical things like the soundtrack timers. And,
the soundtrack timers and... oh yeah, and we've heard all of you. People have been asking, we want a version of the soundtrack that has the timers.
The timer.
Right.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming, right? And by timer, for people who don't know, they mean like, we want the warning at 30 seconds and 10 seconds.
Yeah, with like a visual like timer on the screen the whole... Yeah, we're working on that.
Yeah.
It should be coming out sometime soonish.
Probably
alongside Star. We'd start talking more about that.
Oh man, Star. I'm so hyped for it. Actually, now that we're getting into this portion, I think we've talked
future
a little...
stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about some future stuff. We're... Level 99 Games is revving up for some... for a lot of stuff.
Too many things.
Too many things. I've actually kind of already talked a little bit about the social media changes, as well as the marketing changes. We're trying our best to really change the way we do marketing and optimize and, make it better because we think that's where we lack the most. Like, no offense to us, I guess, right? Our two biggest improvement points is definitely our marketing and definitely our production stuff, right? Like, catching typographical errors and stuff.
Proofing, and then, right.
So, we're doing our best on those two fronts, right? We dedicate way more time to proofing. If people are wondering, why Soccer Arms is taking a while, it's not just because of ports and stuff. It's because we've literally spent an inordinate amount of time proofing this thing. Josh and I have stared at Sakura Arms components and cards for like literally weeks to make sure that
I mean, this is a big project for us, and I want to make sure that it, as production lead and project lead, to make sure it's done well. For a lot of reasons. I mean, we've been done proofing for a while. Part of the holdup now is production and communicating to press how we want some of these parts to be done. Soccer Arms has a lot of new bits that we haven't done, or dual layered boards and whatnot, and boards that connect to other boards. So it's taken a bit longer to convey these types of intents to press correctly. They can get it. I could. Can I show that thing off, or should I wait? That I talked to you about for the stream.
No. Let's just okay, wait, fine. And that if people want to see that again, they can.
Needless to say, the next Soccer Arms update on the Kickstarter, I'll have quite a bit to show you.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of progress made in the last month, so you'll have some pretty visuals to look at.
Right.
Of potentially physical product proofs and whatnot.
What other things are we doing?
That.
So we're
a lot of things we can't talk about.
We're working on
sucks.
We're working on a game that we can't talk about. We are also working on game that we can't talk about, and then we're getting
game we can't talk about.
Game we can't talk about. Games I can talk about. Mega Man All Stars, for people who know that's a thing.
It's been announced.
It's been, I've had to do some more stuff for Mega Man All-Stars recently. Mostly just making more Robot Masters and making more weapons. So that's cool. Mega Man All-Stars is chugging along. Also, Adventures at Argent is kicking into full-time development, so that's cool.
That'll be starting soon. There's a lot to do for that, but it's fun, hopefully.
Adventures at Argent.
Excited for that.
Star is Killdeer, I think, right?
Star is Killdeer.
Yeah. Because Jane, the main character in Star, is a deer detective.
And Killdeer is a bird that has deer in the name.
Right. Because all of our projects are code-named after birds.
Right.
Hi! I think that's soy milk.
How's it going?
I have no idea what neck minute Mega Man Exceed means, but I assume that means you want Mega Man Exceed. I've talked a little bit about the potential for a Mega Man Exceed. Not to say that there's been any talks between us and Capcom/Jasco,
right.
But more of just how designing a Mega Man Exceed game would be kind of interesting, but also a weird challenge because a lot of the Mega Man characters don't really have a lot of attacks.
Also, we've done Mega Man PTRE, so that might be, a bit of crossing the streams a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know how up for that Jaska would be.
Right. Adventures at Argent is the RPG, the tabletop RPG. Yes. So what's really interesting about the development for Adventures of Argent is that it's, I think, gonna be one of the... I think this is gonna be our first non-heavy mechanical game in our modern times, right? We've had Power Play and we've had Mystic Empyrean, but those were done in the pre-Marco era of testing, right?
Yeah, the testing for this game is weird because of works. You can watch our pre-stream from earlier this year in RPG if you kind of want to get the gist of how the game works. But if you listen to that or you've heard stream already, you can kind of realize how testing might be a little long. Game, we literally have to design classes and then actually test them. Design finals for testers to take fill out classes and provide them with tests.
Have teachers that are
using
all...
those classes.
See, here's the interesting about this game, right? So when people think tabletop RPG, they're probably thinking like, oh, you're obviously going to playtest all of the, job combinations to make sure none of them are broken, to make sure that you don't get like that thing that the druids do in... Druids? Is it druid or is it... There's a thing that people do in D&D where they take this one class that lets them summon a creature with challenge rating like 3 or less. And then fairies or pixies are one of those creatures.
Yeah,
So they summon like 4 fairies, and then they command all the fairies to cast this one spell, which lets the fairy summon a beast of any CR rating that is like 10 or below. And then they summon 10 T-Rexes or whatever. Something like this, right?
Right. I mean, since with RPG you make players use the class systems to make spells, we can't really test. We would be testing this is for
fun.
Brokenness as far as what can this class do in general, not if I make this specific spell, make this other specific, and I combine them. That's not really something we can test for. We can just test for can this class in general, what are the design space bounds of these classes?
Yeah, it's a very nebulous kind of thing because Argent as a setting is... Argent as a setting is also literally about empowering your player, right? Like, literally, somebody takes one class and then they can, blow up a building, right? Like, that's just the nature of
that's kind of the testing for, right, is, when you design spells in Argent, when you go to a class and fill out more of your book, you start working on spells, right? You don't go to a class period once and have a spell. You to a class a couple times and then have a spell.
Right.
So our frame is how many classes does it take you to finish a spell, and when that spell is finished, how busted is. You shouldn't go to a class once and blow up the entire campus.
Right, but you could go to a class once and blow up a shed, right?
Sure, yeah. But if you go to class 3 times or you can probably make.
See, but that's the thing, right? So chat is asking, is it a more narrative style RPG or more crunchy? The entire point of Argent is that your power is narrative power. There's no, I deal 5 HP more damage or things like that.
I mean, there is mechanics, right? There are dice that you roll occasionally.
Yeah, but it's not like there's health tracking or whatever.
Right.
There's not a tactical board, right?
Everything you do is a series of, social, right? When you fight, you can fight system, but when you fight, it's more like, there's a dragon, how do you deal it, right? And you could solve it in one casting of series of spell as if the GM wants to, or maybe go I fling a fire and the GM goes, okay, you blow off its wing, the fight continues, right?
Right. So it's definitely
it's less mechanics and more social.
Right.
You use the mechanics to further the social narrative.
Yeah. So the thing about it is that
we have the stream for that. To talk to go into detail.
Right. If you want, you can just watch the stream for that. It's very crunchy your narrative power scales off the crunchiness. Basically, you have to use mechanics to get narrative power. If that sounds
and the GM has a lot of say, what works and what doesn't. The GM also controls, all the professors on campus. So if a player tries to do something nutso, there's likely a professor around or a magical ward for to,
right,
stop things from getting too crazy. If the GM,
I mean, though, given the fact
the
that
GM has as much power as the players, basically.
The GM has infinitely more power than the players, actually. But the point here is that players in Argent are super empowered, because
Yeah, if you want to do a cool, you
do it.
Do it. Technically, according to the rules, when you cast a spell, it always gets casted. It just might not do what you think it's going to do or hit the right target.
Right.
Something, but if you cast a fire, well, there's a fire happening, somewhere.
Right. See,
around.
The one thing I really dislike about games like Dungeons and Dragons is when you have a character who's supposedly oh, I trained in the back streets of the Thieves Guild to become the most agile rogue you've ever seen. And he's snarky, whatever, and he goes I hop over the table and do the thing. And then you're roll athletics, and then you fail and then you beef it, right? It's funny, but you don't feel empowered as a player, right? Argent's literally like, I cast a fireball, and you fail in Argent. You go like, okay, you cast the fireball, but instead of hitting the dragon, it hits like something else.
You hit the tree next to it and catches the forest around fire.
Right.
Every time you do something will happen.
Right. It progresses the narrative, right? It changes the situation.
Right.
It's not just like you miss next turn, right? Like I hate that. It just, it just bloats the time that you take to do an encounter. One thing I want to say is that as a very narrative focused player, combat in Argent doesn't suck. It feels.
I mean,
cool.
combat, only really exists if you're wants it, right? There's no systems in this game that say do the combat, right? You can cast fireballs, you can make crazy spells, you can make a golem to do stuff for all that, but there's no class that's like, this is the fight class, and if you go this class, you can fight. There's an arcane weapons class, and you can use staves that you make to fight, but you can also use staves that you make to like make friends or get to class faster.
I mean, yeah,
or what you can do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Because the thing about it is that everything in this game is a tool for you to tell a story, right? Because we keep talking about fireball, and in the traditional tabletop RPG sense, people think,
just as examples, right?
4d6 fire damage to an area that's 20 feet wide, right? Like whatever, right? But
yeah, this is Indians, right? You can go to like time class and like planar warp class. Like you can go these crazy.
No, but what I'm saying,
magic class and learn all these nut spells.
But what I'm saying is that when you do fireball in Argent, it's not because you want to damage something all the time, right? Because Argent doesn't have that language, right? It doesn't have the language of 4d6 in 20 foot, whatever, right? Because have you ever had that thing in D&D where like, you're in a dark cave and you want to light something on fire just so that you can see better, right? So you're like, oh, I fireball the haystack,
the torch or whatever,
or whatever,
haystack.
And then the GM will go like, oh, technically, you're in a hallway that's 10 feet wide, so it would hurt all of you, right? In Argent, you go like, I fireball the haystack, and you're like, okay, what do you do to cast that? Oh, I cast it using mental. All right, boom.
Yeah, I use my herbology class to like light this herb, or I use my root class and combine the sequence of ruins to cast a fireball.
Or I use planar science to go into the settings menu of this item and turn the burning setting on.
Right. I use a proof to prove that all haystacks fire sometimes. So the stack is now just on fire.
Right. Hello, chat. Hi, new people. So chat is asking, that sounds really great. There's a lot of alternatives to some of the less interesting things in mainstream RPGs. Yeah, not to say that D&D is bad or whatever. I play D&D, right? It's a common thing for people to make fun of or deride D&D. But, D&D has its place, and D&D is fun. All right, let's move on to
we'll talk more about that as the project develops. You'll probably be hearing more about that game next year at some point.
Right. Oh, so I think now we should move on to, in these last
Q&A
20 minutes, some Q&A. So let's talk about, we're taking questions from the chat. If you want to know, like, why we're ending the live stream, etc., you can just watch back a little bit. But we'll be answering any questions you have. Now, here's a question. Is a power-hungry dean wannabe professor gonna order a hit on my student character so another student can spend more time in the library? So you're making fun of this because that's technically something you do in Argent the Consortium, which is the board game that's a worker placement. But
yeah, there's an assassin's variant in rooms that let you put hits on other students and stuff.
Right. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Argent the RPG is the kind of game that lets you do that. That's his...
Yeah, time is kind of like the thing you manage in this game. It's not so much, can I go to class, or it's about, do I have time? Do I want to go to class? Do I want to hang out with my friends? How do I manage my school stuff?
Actually,
and the GM can do stuff with that, right? I had in our test games, like my character like broke a school rule, something, and got arrested by Gion, and the school security, and I lost 2 time slots that I couldn't class in because I was in jail.
Right.
And like Phelan had to break me out as the
and then you did a
player,
Phoenix Wright court battle, right?
Yeah, and then it turned into this big stupid Phoenix Wright court. It's where the end of the semester, this big stupid court case that was zany and
yeah,
fun
see, and here's the thing about that, right? Like, So for one thing people don't know, the main thing about Argent is that if you've ever played a Persona game, and you know how it's like, oh, I really want to get my social link up with this character, but they're only available on Wednesdays in the afternoons. Or I really want to talk and date this character, but she's only there on Friday mornings or whatever. Argent is literally an entire game built around that dynamic, right? Oh, I want to go on I want to go on an excursion and adventure, but I have a class then. Right? So like it's about literally managing your schedule like a college student. It's great. So it's more
it's magic school with an emphasis on school.
Emphasis on school. Right. I think on the announcements we made it like this, right? Think Harry Potter, but think Harry Potter because Harry Potter is you go to a magic school and then there's a dark lord that Harry has to destroy to save the world or whatever. Think that, but it's reversed. 80% of the focus is on the school, and maybe 20% is on this Dark Lord who happens to appear or whatever, right?
Yeah, maybe the GM makes this big scary plot, but I got finals to pass, so someone else can deal with Byron, or maybe we can work it into a Friday or something.
Right, exactly. It's definitely more like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, right? It's like the magic and the wizards and the dragons are getting in the way of me getting a best friend or making friends or going to sports club, right? It's not the opposite.
You're more likely to spell to impress a girl or like win the sports ball game, whatever, than you are to like beat an ancient evil or something. Not to say things can't happen in the system. Of course they can.
I mean, of course they can, but like that's not the kind of story. It's not the kind of story that the system lends itself to, right? It's all about character moments, character interactions, and small moments like this. I think like I've introduced a big bad evil guy, but the big bad evil guy in my Argent games is literally the snooty Gary Oak character who you guys have to fight in wizard chess, right? Like that's the main villain I have. He's Gary Oak who fights you at wizard chess. He's not like I have political plans and I will take over the world, right? Like it's a whatever.
Mm-hmm. Like in our game, like we don't any big bads. We just have a bunch of jerk professors that have their own motives, like in real art. And the time system is making it hard to deal with that, right? Like the Zal Ezra plot is going in our game right now, where Zal may or may not have caused, that math professor that's made of math to explode.
Right.
And I'm super suspicious of them, but because of scheduling, because Zal is a planar science professor that can literally just go back in time and make me forget anything happened, it's very hard for me to find time to confront him. And when I confront him, have the spells to deal with his, master level planar science nonsense. God. So a lot of just very passive aggressive classwork where I'll go class, glare at the whole time, and he'll just smirk at me and go like, "Good luck in your classes."
Good luck in your classes. Wink, wink.
Pats me on the shoulder as he walks by and winks.
Oh man, I remember you told me this story where Zal Ezra basically wanted to turn your character into a guinea pig for his science experiments, and he literally just passes this object to you, and you're like, "What the heck's this?" He's like, "Don't worry, you'll use it."
Yeah, he handed this planar science doodad, and he's like, if you need to like make time, just give this thing a whirl, and it'll work. And mechanically, what it did is it allowed to fill out classes whenever I wanted to. Mechanically, you can normally fill out a class when or when you're not in a scene, like when you're in downtime. But this let me do it on the fly. Like if I'm in the middle of a scene, I can just spin the
you retroact class. You're like, oh god, I need to have learned a fireball. So let's go back.
Yeah, this would be a really good time to know a fireball, right? In my whatever class.
Right.
And because of the lawyer, stuff that's going on, I happened to use it late in the week, and there was literally no other way out.
Right.
And I used it, and I go to class saying just like, "Hey, thanks."
Right. So. Chat,
just says keep at it.
Exactly, right? I love this. Okay, wait. So chat is going, wait, is this the dating sim game that you are developing? So basically, yes and no. There was like a visual novel.
Not from a technical standpoint, but you could do that kind of stuff in the system.
But the entire point is that this game is about time management, dating relationships, and whatever, right? Like best friends, lovers, teachers, school stuff. That's the entire point. Going to classes, schedules, meeting specific people. Like, I have another group of Argent wherein literally what they have all done is one of them has decided to start courting this giant dryad lady that they're neighbors with. One of them is trying to start like a tea club. One of them is literally joining Mazecaster, which is their version of like American football something, right? And one of them is basically just one of them is just going around befriending everyone because they're like a wide-eyed, you know, like, ooh, college, all of the new people I could meet, right? Like, and they've already been playing this game for like a month, and what have they accomplished? Well, one of them got a scene where they and the person they want to date, like, kissed the girl kissed her on the cheek. That's it. Like, that's the payoff that they got, and they loved it. Like, that's the kind of game this is, right? One of them was able to set up their tea club. Now they can have tea club meetings every week. Like, that's the payoff, right? It's not like, I kill a dragon and got magic sword, right? Like, it's literally stuff like, you know, oh, I finally joined this club that I wanted. Or, oh, I set up this entire charity that I can use to feed orphans. Like, do you gain mechanically anything from that? No. Do you gain narrative power from that? Yes, because now you have a bunch of orphans you can talk to. And they're cool.
Right.
And, you know,
there are goals. Right, you know, when you play this game, your main goals are 1 to graduate, which means complete a certain amount of classes across 4 semesters,
and also graduate,
and also to get out of debt.
Because you only graduate if you're not in debt. So one of them, figured out that the only way out of debt was to literally, like, you know, go to the school newspaper and turn into Peter Parker and talk to like the editor who's like, give me pictures of Spider-Man, and he's like, dang, now I gotta go on all of these adventures just to find pictures to give to this guy. So that I get out of debt. Like...
Right.
Oh my gosh.
But, you know, more info on that in the future.
Yeah. Let's stop talking about Argent right now. Some people might have other questions. Any news related to 7th Cross? 7th Cross is still in development. We're still evaluating whether or not the current version of 7th Cross is viable for release. That's really my answer for you. Right?
Yeah, I mean, as you've seen in the development scheduling, you know, we've had Project Crow come up, and for reasons that you will hopefully soon understand when we get to talk to you about it, we had to push a lot of projects, including potentially doing 7th Cross to the future.
Right.
You know. Right.
Oh,
TBD.
If people are wondering, I guess I could give hints, right? So here's my hint.
I would not say Crow.
All of our projects are named after birds for specific reasons. It's very rare that we name it just after a random bird, right? Like, you know how...
Yeah, we don't just pick a random bird. It's always associated with the project in some aspects.
Right. So, like,
sometimes very tangentially, but
oftentimes
there's a link
matching,
there.
right? Like, you know, kill deer, Jane, star, right? So, you know, it's kind of that level. I think Crow is probably one of the more direct ones, but you know, it's definitely not like the other projects where it's like you have to do 3 leaps. Crow is only 2 leaps. You know what I mean?
Right. So, you know, continue speculation on Crow until you.
Okay, Chad is asking a really important question. I've always wondered this. What's the difference between design and development in the project status updates you guys post? I think it's very easy to understand this if I give you an example instead. If what you're thinking when you're doing this job is, oh, what would be a cool new card for Hearthstone, right? Oh, if we had a 5-mana creature that has 5/6 in stats and had this cool effect, right? Oh, that would be a cool creature to have. Let's say, like, you know, 5 mana, 5/5 battle cry, deal 5, right? That's design. You're coming up with a card from nothing, right? Development is, well, the guy who designed this game gave me a 5 mana 5/5 that deals 5. That's garbage, right? It has to be a 4 mana 5/5 that deals 5. Or maybe a 4 mana 4/5 that deals 6. That's development.
Yeah, design is making the content game and the system. Development is, you know, balancing it basically. For some, like for, you know, a project we do, you know, like Exceed, design is going, okay, what's the season mechanic? What are all these characters you use and what are their attacks? And the development is going, okay, now that we have those, we're gonna make sure they're all balanced, right?
Right.
For a new game like Bullet or something, it's going, does the system even work? And also, what are the patterns look like? That, and then we test them, and that's development.
Right. And so one thing that blurs the lines for some people is because development often leads to having to redesign things.
Right. If something's busted, maybe to revamp a character, and that means we go back to development to revamp that character for 2 seconds.
Yeah. From development, we go back to design, right? And what muddies this is that oftentimes the designer and the developer are the same person, right? But our company is different. We have a dedicated developer, me, who does the balancing and stuff, but also sometimes designs and sometimes doesn't. Because there's a certain level of change that is acceptable within development that still counts as only development and not redesigns, right? For example, again, let's go back to the Hearthstone or Magic example. If you go, this thing should be a sorcery instead of an instant, or this thing should be a death rattle instead of a battle cry, right? That's the kind of stuff that you could probably just change in development without having to go back to design, because the designer would have already given you a design guide, right? Like, if they go, Ryu is a defensive fighter who uses, whose favorite trigger is if the opponent attacks into him, he gets extra benefits, right? That's what all of his Shoryukens do, right?
Right.
In development, if we have to redesign an effect, let's say like, some attack is too toxic because, the speed is just so high that nothing ever beats it or something like this, right? We could change it without having to go back to Brad, who's the designer, because we have the design guide and we know what aspects of Ryu's kit are core to his identity as a character, right? Like, if the thing that's toxic is like, Hadouken shouldn't really be doing X, Y, and Z, if none of that is defensive fighter stuff, then that's fine, right? We don't need to go back to design and redesign it. But the moment that the thing we have to change and go like, the toxic thing about this is the Shoryukens, then we have to go back and tell Brad, the designer, like, hey, it's not flying, man. We gotta change it. And here's why. Here's a list of itemized reasons why. Here's the data to support why. Change it, right? Because you need to support that stuff, right? You can't just tell the designer, I don't like your design, and change it, right? You need to give them actual proof as to why the design does not work.
So they know how to move forward, too.
Exactly, of course, right? It's not just about proving it to them, it's also giving them all the information they need to design something better, right? That's what iteration's all about. Chat is going, my ears perk up each time I hear exceed. Well, let's hope that it exceeds your expectations. What are your pie-in-the-sky dream ideas for potential future Argent, the Consortium expansions? Fine with abstract answers, not necessarily mechanical ones. I want to do Argent abroad. I want to kind of like have a separate, like mechanically,
go somewhere else within the framework, Argent.
Right. Like imagine there's
study abroad. It's like rooms in like Jeffries or whatnot.
Right. And the rooms aren't connected to the campus.
Yeah, it's like a separate board that resolves different or whatever.
Right. So like maybe I don't know. There's like a train station room in the school, and then that's how you get transported into like I don't know the wildlands.
Yeah, you can like move your bits to the second room board or something.
Whatever. Yeah, that's that would be my pie in the sky Argent thing. I don't know about you, Josh.
I made a bunch of C&D mages I want to see happen. I just want content. I really like how Argent works right now, and I think there's a lot more design space within current frame. More bell towers, more supporters. Tweaking existing is maybe you can have a room that's too wide and takes up 2 spaces for rooms. What does that mean? I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out later.
Maybe. Oh God! What if there were rooms that cared about adjacency, right? There's not a lot of rooms
carrying adjacency, doing more flipping stuff. There's a lot of things we can do in the current frame without going too nuts, right?
Right.
It still adds a lot of depth.
Just got here. Did I miss info on Argent, on Adventures at Argent? You kind of did, but nothing that you would have missed. Basically, if you watch the previous announcement video, you know all of you need to know.
Right, we just kind of re-went over some of the concepts we talked about in the last stream.
Right. But the important part here is that, oh my gosh, I have fan art. Well, not fan art. I commissioned art for some of my fan characters, and I posted them on the official Level 99 Games Twitter. So if you want to see one of the characters that I play as an NPC. She's there. She's a cool biker dryad. Brad is really angry that a lot of the NPC characters end up being racing dryads. So that's kind of like our new meme now. Racing dryads are the future. I apologize if you already answered this, but I'd love to see the return of the Level Cap podcast with you and Brad. So we are moving away from doing the live stream and doing podcasts in favor of doing more live events on our Discord. So you might not see the same thing that Brad and I used to do, but you might see Brad and me play a game of Power Play, or, you know, Brad and me do a Q&A together or something like that. So, you know, you still have it in some way, shape, or form. You just have to be on our Discord. I just got up to live. Just wanted to say thanks for all these live streams. I've learned heaps and glad to have discovered all the random video game anime news. Looking forward to what's next. Hey, thank you so much, Luco. Yeah, Josh and I put a lot of work into it, and I know it's very difficult for Josh to be in front of the camera and talk for a long period of time like this, so I really appreciate him being here. You know, it's not easy. I mean,
yeah, I'm quite the chatterbox, I know.
It's not easy for me either, right? Like, you think I'm like this in my personal life? Josh, do you...
Yes.
Oh, no. Stop. Have you tried a more iterative product management structure like Scrum? Seems like it would be ideal for what you've described. We use Active Collab, right?
They're talking about a process for moving projects from start to finish.
Don't we do agile development?
Yes, we have done Scrum a bit before. Our current project flow should be pretty clean. I don't think it's based on Scrum. It's been a while since I've looked at that.
I think we're agile. I think we're agile, from what I understand. Right? We're agile, right? Like, you know, we design, develop, essentially, and we literally do weekly stand-up meetings. So, like, that's pretty much, like, the agile framework, right?
The important part about the new production process, you know, from start to finish, is that ideally, it will give every phase the time it needs. You know, no more rushing projects, no more getting things done just because it needs. And, you know, if art takes X amount of time, it takes X time. If development 3 months, whatever. Right. You know, ideally our funds are in a place where we can, you know, spend all the time we need projects and make the best things we can be. Not that our past projects aren't great or anything.
But they could be better, right?
We could have spent more time on a lot of things, and we could have taken time to assess projects before we launched them. And I feel much more confident the current projects we're working on and the future ones that we are in talks about. Than I do about some of our previous projects.
Yeah, I mean, part of that was just because our schedule was always so packed, right? So we were basically on all the time. There was no time to market.
We had a lot of stuff going on, like different people doing different things. Now, our staff is more concrete, right? You know, I'm leading all the projects, not only some projects. You know, Marco, you're helping test everything, not just some things. You know, we have static designers for certain. You know, I do the design for Bullet, Brad does for Exceed, you know, yada yada.
Right, but I do the development for all of them, right? So like it's
we have static staff members for specific things, and I'm not running into a million different people to assess the state of things.
I mean, it's also because we just have
the
less.
The future is bright, I would say.
We also have less projects in general, right? Like back in the olden days.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, kind of. We're getting that. We're not quite there yet.
I mean,
we still have a bit of a backlog.
But like, here's the thing: some people are really disappointed that, you know, there's gonna Exceed season whatever is gonna be delayed for some inordinate amount of time. But my point is this, right? Like, we would end up with better Exceed products if we didn't have to just pump Exceed out like twice every year, right? Testing Exceed, developing and designing Exceed takes a lot of time. Every season of Exceed is like 16 characters. It's crazy, right? You know,
and there's a lot of opportunities we missed too. From moving through things quicker than, right, you know, maybe we find a potential crossover that we didn't know about. Maybe we need time to work out licenses or something. And if we take that time, you know, maybe we'll end up with a better product than we would have had.
All right.
But, you know, we'll see. You know, get excited. The future, you know, I think there's a lot of cool things we have coming up to be excited about.
Maybe I missed it, but have you mentioned anything regarding Bullet Orange? If you're asking for an update on Bullet Orange, I'm pretty sure our latest newsletter has it, but, you know, things are chugging along. Some people are getting their copies, right? People are posting about it on Twitter. I think America is still held up for whatever reason. Something about, like, shipping containers and legal stuff. I'm not the admin guy. That's Brad. So, you know, the best answer I can give you is extraneous circumstances are making it really hard to get Bullet into some people's hands, but other people are already getting it.
Yeah, and you can keep an eye on the Discord and the newsletter as well for more info on that.
Right.
I think we have time for like one more question.
Yeah.
It's about 5:30.
Yeah, 2 more questions. Any plans on releasing Bullet or BattleCon OSTs on vinyl CD? Maybe.
Maybe.
That's all we're saying. And question, is any news on Marco's crazy anime sports board game? Yes! I actually had a call with Brad last night about it. And basically what it ended up being was, Brad's like, it sounds like what you actually want to make is just a rom-com slice of life anime as a board game. Not necessarily about the sport, right? So I think it's mutated into a more like, basically a game that lets you play through a slice of life romance comedy anime. Rather than a sports anime. Because I really didn't want to resolve sports stuff. I wanted like, interpersonal drama. Because the sport is just a vehicle for that, right? So, now I'm thinking something along the lines of like, oh, you're a bunch of teachers at the school and you're trying to like help your students get through their personal traumas and stuff. Like, oh, Chad's dad is absent, so I guess we need to like give him guidance or whatever. Oh, Jennifer has a real problem with commitment. We need to, put her into some organization so that she learns the value of hard work and friendship and things like this. That's the kind of game that it's turning into. Okay, so I think that's it. Sorry, any news on PTO? Just wait. It's again, we've realigned our priorities, and PTO is just not one of the priorities right now. Simple, right? Is that it?
I think so.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Level With Us Livecast, the final showdown, the final Level With Us Livecast. Get them Bullet songs on wax. These Bullet songs that are playing in the background are bangers. Trust me. Thank you so much for watching. All of them. To all of you who are watching this and have been with us for the longest time, thank you so much for all of the support that you've given us, for the interest that you've given to our company, to these livecasts, and of course to me and Josh and Brad, because Brad's not here to say that for himself. And for people who just came here for the first time, don't worry. You haven't missed... this isn't going to be like the final time you get to interact with Marco and Josh. Remember, if you want to get more of those interactions in, I'm on Twitter. The Level 99 Games official Twitter is held by me. I've held it hostage. I post about my memes and all of my interests there. If you want to get into a live chat session, maybe play some games with us, we will also be doing some Discord events in the near future. Josh, do you have anything you want to say?
No, just to reiterate, thanks for joining. You'll see us all in the future in different mediums, so get excited for stuff we hang out. There's a lot of cool new things that I hope to talk to you about sooner than later.
Right. And thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget your special action, and thank you, World of Level 99 Games. Thank you, and good night. It's been me, your host, Marco DeSantos, also known as Mechanic Craig, and with me has been the ever amazing, ever wonderful project manager, Level 99 Games himself,
Josh, also known as Ithri. Happy gaming, everybody.
Happy gaming, folks.